in the Mediterranean, they eat a lot of olive oil. I can eat a lot of olive oil. Those people also consume items that are high in fibers, such as whole grains as well. That contributes to their low cholesterol level, or also, I should say, low incidence of cardiovascular diseases. So when you factor in all those things, it's not just the fact that they consume a lot of olive oil. In addition to that, they consume a lot of nuts, your almonds and your walnuts. Those things also, as we remember, as we mentioned, they also help to lower cholesterol as well. So keep in mind, don't compare yourself to them versus the lifestyle here where it's totally different.
Start. Do you remember that? What does N stand for? Brother Lemon did this at one of your Tuesday night Bible studies. N stands for nutrition. E stands for exercise. W stands for water. S stands for good. T stands for, that one's a little harder, temperance, which means self-control. A stands for air. R stands for rest. T stands for trust in divine power. We're going to look at each of these and see how depression is affected by this. And not only depression, but the mind in general. Yes, Brother Lemon, thank you. Nutrition. What are these foods? Almonds? What's that there? Do you all know the second picture? Seeds. Flax seeds. How many of you all use flax seeds? Good. Okay. Oranges and potatoes. These are 4 categories of major areas that if we're not getting enough of these foods, it will affect our minds, whether or not you're depressed. I want to spend some time talking about this one right here. Omega-3. You've been reading the newspapers about omega-3 and how that helps us with so many things. Have you not been reading it? I use that with all of the clients that came into me. And you would be amazed because I would tell them to take 3 to 4 tablespoons of ground flaxseed every morning. 3 to 4 tablespoons, because that would give them a lot of omega-3. I had a woman who was crying constantly, just always crying. I had her start that. After 2 weeks, she literally came to me and says, my crying has stopped. Which lets me know the crying wasn't merely due to what was happening in her life, but depletion of omega-3 in her mind, her brain. Are you all following me? And I've had other situations where people have just taken that omega-3. It sounds so simple, but it's so true. More and more research. I just ran across some research yesterday where they're saying there's more research confirming that omega-3 can help with the mind, help with depression. I put her on that and she was fine. After 2 weeks, she stopped. Kids. What do you think would be good for them? What's that? What's someone say? I've heard people say a whipping. Less soda. But you're right, Brother Bussy, because this book shows that additives can make people more hyper. There's a lot of additives in the food. Wheat germ can help your hyperactive kids. Whole grain cereals can help hyperactive kids. I remember working with a mother who called me. I went to her home and started talking with her because she says, she was crying. She said, they're about to put my child on Ritalin. I don't know what to do. I heard that you can help. We went to her home. I think I went alone. I didn't go with my husband. Yeah, I went alone. I put her on this lifestyle program, had her increase these foods. 2 months later, I did some other things we're going to talk about later. 2 months later, she called me all excited. She says, my son is concentrating better. He's not daydreaming as much, and the doctors are saying he doesn't need to be put on Ritalin. There's so many kids going around with this Ritalin, and if we would just change their lifestyle, some of that would go away. Yes, ma'am?
You had potatoes up there. Can you just tell us about potatoes?
Thank you. Potatoes are a source of good carbohydrates. Potatoes, and that's one of the causes of depression. We're not getting good carbohydrates in our brain.
But when they tell you, you go to the doctor, they tell you, we're going to teach you how to manage your diabetes. I'm talking to you about how to get rid of your diabetes. There's a difference. I don't want you managing your diabetes. I don't want that. Because if you manage it and you continue, you're still going to suffer the same results of someone who is not managing theirs. And that's going to be, and I'm going to show you at the very end. Next slide. This is another key here. Exercise. You can go to the next. Exercise helps control type 2 diabetes by improving your body's use of insulin. Now guess what? once you start exercising, some have said, researchers have said that for 1 straight hour of exercise, it is worth at least, help me out, Magda, is 5 units of insulin. 1 complete hour of exercise is worth 5 units of insulin. But I want to share something else with you. After you have exercised and continue to exercise, you remember those coated cells with the fat around them that I was talking to you about? Guess what happens at that point? When you exercise, your body needs energy. The body gets energy from what? Fat. Guess what happens to that fat that was wrapped around that cell? That fat is gone. Now, what can happen to that cell that was coated with fat? The doors can open up. When the doors open up, what happens then? The glucose can now go into the cell. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. So what do we want to do now? We want to eat as we should, right? What is the next thing we want to do? Yes. But guess what? The other extra added benefit. You're talking about type 2 diabetes. But look at what else is going to happen here. Burning excess body fat, decreased body fat, results in improved insulin resistance.
Like I used to check my little blood pressure, and you had the little squeegee little thing that you got to squeeze up. And I found out like my blood pressure with medication probably about 170, maybe 180. And I'm squeezing this thing up. And then when you squeeze your blood pressure cup, you got to squeeze it to 20 things over 170 so it can register. So the other day I'm squeezing it, and I got to 170, and I said, dang, my blood pressure thing don't work no more. So so I kept on doing it, and I squeezed it to like 120, and then it started beeping. So my blood pressure is down. I am working on it. I'm working on it.
You've seen the results then, in other words, of what you have been able to implement.
I really have. And it works. The food is good. The vegetables are good. And my pocketbook is light. It's heavy. I mean, I got more money now because I don't have to buy that expensive meat anymore. So, like I can go to Whole Foods, spend $100, and we still got food, and you still have vegetables. So it definitely makes a difference. I don't have to buy that beef. I'm always looking for a deal on the beef. I'm still looking for a deal on the salmon. Buy my salmon if it ain't for sale. But still, you're always looking for, you're always looking for that deal. I don't have to do that anymore.
Right.
I don't have to do that anymore. So, I have more, a little bit more money.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.